Hello and welcome to another Yesterday's Airlines video. It is early February and therefore it is time for some new NG models to arrive at Yesterday's Airlines hangar. So this rather dirty and well-travelled box contains 3 models which have just arrived about an hour ago, and I haven't even opened the boxes yet. So let's have a look in this video at the 3 models which I've acquired from this month's batch of NG models and kind of see what I think of those. Okay, so the January NGs were a bit of a disappointment to many classic collectors. I know lots of younger collectors were super keen on them. I was a little bit blasé myself, but there's always possibility to find models to acquire, and when I started looking at them and thinking which one should I get, then it actually became a much more difficult decision than I thought initially it was going to be. The first model which I have, picked up is this one, Qantas, not Qantas, what universe you on, Rich? Garuda A330, which fits nicely into my new Indonesian fleet, which is already getting a little bit too large for its own good. So as you can see, this is in the Nature's Wing livery, which is a really attractive scheme, especially for a largely Euro white one. And as I say, I haven't opened up the models yet, so I don't know how good or bad they are. So obviously, the release pictures from NG always look pretty impressive. So here we go, another NG A330. There are so many A330s being made. I don't typically buy a huge number unless they're Chinese or, as in this case, Indonesian. But it's looking pretty good from a first quick look here. Obviously haven't done any detailed review of this, but if I'm looking across this, I can't see any QC issues, for example. I mean, the NG A330 is a really nice mould. The model looks good. No major and obvious printing issues. Overall, this is, I think, looking like a solid winning model, as you'd expect, really. Let's stick her up on the stand, and maybe I can just spin her around more easily rather than seeing my fingers. Here we go. Yeah, I really like this scheme. I really like the NG A330 300. You can see it's got really nicely fitted aerials. Don't think there's any problems with that. There's a few hairs on it already. Super nice. And a really good fit for my Indonesian fleet, which has only currently got a 747, a 737 MAX and ATR in this scheme. So it's good to get an A330, and I really probably should pick up an A330 Neo as well at some point. But PK, GHA, has been realised really nice with all the usual kind of level of high quality NG finish you'd expect. Nose cone rings, engine panel lines, solid good model. I was really tempted to get the Dragonair rather than the Garuda, but in the end I got the Garuda, and it doesn't look like it was a mistake considering how nice that is. Okay, so the second model of the 3 which I picked up this month is one of the few that you could reasonably call a classic, and it is this rather nice Mexicana scheme. So this is wearing the standardized Mexicana livery after the very colourful different tails. This is the scheme which went on, and I saw an interesting I think it was an Instagram post or maybe it was a Facebook post talking about the fact that this one this aircraft is called, or has written on it, Vamos por Mos, or something like that. My Spanish is obviously rubbish, but apparently this is in answer to something Tayesa was saying when they first got their 757. They were saying, oh, we've got 757s, the Mexicana don't. And Mexicana put some cheeky titles on their first 757, and this is their second 757, and it has, and now we've got more, or we've got 2, or something like that, and now we've got more, something like that. So that's a tiny bit of history, but let's have a look at the actual aircraft itself. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the NG757. It's their first mould. It's perhaps not quite as nice as the TriStars, but I really love the 757. It's possibly one of my favourite aircraft type, and this mould is, you know, almost perfection. So it's looking really good. Looking super nice. And again, you know, there's no quality issues here. First out the box and everything's attached. No problems there. Gears roll. I think it's good. Obviously, I can't put this one up on the stand because NG757s have this slightly unusual stand hole. So instead I'll stick it up here on this bit of plastic, maybe get a slightly closer look at the model for you guys. It's a really nice aircraft in an attractive scheme. I am thinking maybe that the tail is a little bit light. I don't know what you guys would think about that. And you can see this one actually does have a little bit of tendency to want to lean back on its rear undercarriage, but it's fine if I stop moving it, it doesn't do that. Yeah, so that's interesting. Okay, so I'm back. Probably don't notice, but I was just away, and I was just checking out the colours to see if it was lighter than it ought to have been, and it's not. NG have actually got this spot on. The reason I thought it was darker is due to an Aero Classics release, which I have, which you can see here in the same scheme on the 727. And it's way darker, way darker. And I guess I shouldn't be too surprised that it is Aero Classics that have got the scheme incorrect here, and the colours are way too dark on that 727. And actually, it is as light as this 757. So props to NG for getting that detail right, and typical Aero Classics for stuffing the colours up. They always get their colours too dark. But never mind, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about NG. So that is the one concern I had about this model has been removed. It is perfect on the colour front, and it sits nicely, and it always looks good, you know. I really like NG 757s. Is the engine slightly pointing upwards? Yeah, probably is a little bit, but nothing too drastic. So perhaps, you know, the engine's slightly raised on the starboard side of the model. But overall, pretty happy with this 757. Add that to my fleet of probably well over 50 NG 757s. So that's models 1 and 2, Mexicana on the 75, and of course the Garuda on the A330. So good pair of additions here. And now I guess probably what would be the icing on the cake for many is the third model in the collection of the additions this month, and that is this Dreamliner. Now, this is the first time I've actually acquired a 787-10 from ngModels. None of the Chinese airlines operate the type, so haven't had big reasons to get them. I do have a JC Wings 787-10 in the house colours scheme, but I've not acquired any of the NG versions. And British Airways modern releases are not really kind of my thing. I only really got this model because I wanted to see it on my Jinlong diorama. Otherwise, I wouldn't have purchased it. It's certainly way outside my usual collecting criteria. But let's have a look and see if it was worth it or not. Because I know this is going to be a super popular model for many collectors who are big fans of 787s and, again, British Airways, which is always an airline that sells super well. So quite a very tight fit in the foam here. Let's get her out. There we go. And first things first, looks like everything's where it ought to be. I think it's like I almost never have issues with NG models. I know some people do seem to have issues, but I just don't. You know, they're always pretty much perfect for me, and I just don't get these models which have pieces falling off. So maybe I'm just lucky. But then again, they've got to come all the way to New Zealand from the United States and China and so on and so forth. You'd expect that if NG had problems, that I'd be seeing them pretty regularly. But I don't, and that's a good thing, because getting refunds and sending models back when you live in New Zealand is a complete disaster. So anyway, over to the model. Looks good. Can't argue with the NG 787s. They've made a few small changes, obviously, to the undercarriage now and again. Some people still think that, you know, the carriage itself is too narrow. They're probably a little bit right there, but I think that the modifications they've made to the nose gear have been successful. Overall, the mould is excellent. This is actually a really nice scheme nowadays. I wasn't a big fan of it when they first introduced this kind of Chelham dockyard scheme, but you know, with the to fly to serve crest, sorry, I think that's a nice addition. And they've made the white brighter, which is also makes the scheme really stand out. And actually, it's a really attractive BA scheme nowadays. And I hope that they do not change it to something rubbish similar to the Iberia scheme. But you never know. Airlines haven't got any taste. But the model's great. Looks really nice. White wing tops, as you can see. Really fine detail. Really attractive 787. I think this is going to look excellent on the airport diorama. Operating one of the Heathrow services, Saint Long Airport. Really can't go wrong buying NG's 787, so it'll be super interesting to see how the upcoming Aviation 400 molds compare. You see nice see-through engines. I imagine this has got spinning fan blades, but I can't be bothered to remind myself and find out. Really high quality finish. If I turn her over, you can see at the bottom here, really nice detail. And, you know, classic NG here. You've still got this printing detail even on a dark blue belly, which just shows you that they're really putting the effort in. It certainly knocks competitors like Phoenix out of the water. And the other area, of course, to pay attention to if you're looking for printing detail, bottom of the engines. Look at that. Ton of detail down there. Really, really well put together model. So even when NG models do not really appeal to me, or at least what I'm supposed to be collecting, like this BA 787, I still find myself forced, in inverted commas, to get them. They just look lovely. And when I was looking through the releases, I was super interested in getting the Filipino A350 or the Qatari A350s. And as I said, the Dragonair A330s. And I just had to stop myself because I just can't afford to buy this many models. NG are producing way too much good stuff. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'm really happy with this month's NG arrivals. I'll probably get a couple more in time, but if you enjoyed the video, obviously leave a like and subscribe. I hope you enjoy your NG arrivals from January as well. Check me out on Instagram at Yesterday Airlines. Check me out on Facebook. Obviously check out the website. Tons more news about 400 scale, including there'll be some new photos and possibly a video as well of the Aviation 400 787 mold. So keep an eye out, keep watching, keep collecting. Thanks very much, guys. See you later.